So, so I'm in a little bit of a dilemma. I forgot my tripod at home, but we have a solution. I have help today. Anyway, for my first exercise on camera, I'm doing a curtsy one arm row. If you notice, the back leg is in like a bent position, and it gives a much better stretch for the lats. I'm looking away as I'm rowing to accentuate the stretch on the side lat. And I'm also rotating the wrists to further get stretch in the lats and all the muscles that connect into it. You'll notice when you do a wrist rotation versus no wrist rotation, the way your lats are activated are much different. I did 8 on this side and 10 on this side. This is my smaller side, so I always try to rack up more volume. And then to get keep the heart rate going, I'm just gonna superset it with 10 push-ups. I'm gonna keep doing this till it feels good. This is my first set. Probably might do 4 or 5. Don't know what, but yeah, that's set 1. Exercise 1. Yeah. That was the last working set of that. On to the next one. Started. So for the second movement, I'm doing again a one arm lat pull down, but on this machine. And since this comes at a wider angle, I'm able to target mid back. Kind of at the top of the rep, I'm kind of just letting the cable pull my chest out. Kind of trying to spread this. You are trying to get as much of a wide stretch, and then to take the traps out of the movement, I'm tilting my neck to the left, so that stretches the traps and allows you to focus more on the mid back, like the rhomboid scapula, and rather than the traps. The traps are hit plenty on other movements, and then when I'm pulling, I'm just really focusing on the rhomboids. And if you guys don't know what that is, those are like the big heart-shaped muscles on the middle of your back. So, going for about 10 plus reps. Movements such as these really helps train your ability to activate your muscles. And activate essentially means mind and muscle connection. A lot of people have trouble with utilizing the correct muscle groups in the movement asked of them. And by doing things that are light like this, to which you are able to individually focus and stretch not just on one half of the body, but one specific muscle group, you are then able to utilize them better. So, for example, now if you're able to connect with your rhomboids, if someone were to tell you, hey, in a pull up, try to contract your mid back, you have now that mental feeling of how a rhomboid contraction feels. So when someone tells you to squeeze your mid back, you can then self analyze, hey, did I feel a mid back squeeze on my last rep of the pull up before? And if you didn't, now you know, oh, I'm supposed to try and somehow activate that. And then by becoming familiar with movements where you're bringing it at an angle and stuff, you're then able to mentally learn ideas like, oh, maybe if I hold the pull-up bar a little wider, or maybe if I, while I'm even though you're holding a pull-up bar like this, you can like try to adjust the pressure on what side of your palm you're pulling yourself up, and if whether or not you feel the squeeze on your mid back when you do that. So yeah, there's just a bunch of things like that that you have to think about, or people don't necessarily think about when lifting, but that translate from one movement to the other when you get good at this kind of stuff. Anyway, little silly rant, and as usual, doing extra reps on the left side because it's smaller than the right. Superset with Cannonball shoulder presses. I like the Cannonball grip because it helps me get a deeper stretch in the shoulder, and also seems to activate my um, my deltoid muscle fibers a lot better. So like if it was a dumbbell, because of how big it is, you'd have to kind of stop here, but now my elbow can go all the way down, which further stretches the anterior delts. And then, so again, choose movements that allow you to do full range of motion. Went for 10 on the right, 12 on left. Yeah. So for the next superset, I'm doing perpendicular landmine rows. I like the angle that it comes up in. Today I'm targeting a lot more like the mid back kind of area, and not so much the lower lats. The angle at which this comes, I really think it hits the mid back much better than like the regular landmine T-bar rows. So yeah, uh, the things that I'm kind of focusing on are like stepping it for like away from the landmine, because that further like puts the angle away to that side. You guys might have to try it to actually make sense of what I'm saying, but like for example, if you're here and you're pulling it, the angle is a lot different than if you're here and pulling it. I'm trying to do more like a rear delt fly thing than like a actual like a row. But anyway, at the bottom I'm kind of applying tension with my legs when it's in contact with the floor to maximize the stretch that I feel in my lat and rear delt and mid back area. Going for about 10 or mostly failure, but trying to hit failure within the 10 to 13 rep range, and then do more on the left side as usual. supersetting that with shoulder presses, but I'm doing like a little variation on the shoulder press, which is so I'm keeping a staggered stance, and at the bottom position I'm rotating, which gives a slightly extra stretch in the anterior delt area. And then, oof, but don't lose balance like I just did. I'm going for 8 to 10. I like doing movements that allow me to do full range of motion. Full range of motion seems to get better hypertrophy gains than limited range. There is a time and place for doing limited range, but at least most of the time your work should focus on full range. It's good for overall shoulder health, joint health, across all joints, for all movements. But yeah, gonna keep doing that till it feels good. So for my final movement, I'm doing pullover with the kettlebells. I like using the Cannonball grip. Ah. My hat. I need the hat for the microphone, but that's easily fixable. Anyway, so as with other movements, I'm big on single hand work, and so I like gripping a weight in each hand. It allows me to individually focus on each serratus. Just trying to bring it up in a straight motion and really trying to open up my chest and shoulders at the bottom here. Taking a second to feel the stretch, in no hurry to bring the weight up. In fact, like I'll even play around with holding the kettlebell in a different way. So here I'm bringing it in reverse grip, back up, because I feel like it recruits the serratus a little different. Now I'm gonna rotate it a little bit, and then sink my hips to feel the stretch a little bit more. Closing my eyes so that I can really kind of mentally connect with it. And then bring it back up, back down, and the other hand. Now do regular grip. Oh. Ah. Ah. Both hands at the same time, and then alternate from the top position. And even cycle through angles here. So now neutral grip at the top, and cycle. And then reverse grip as well. And then doing double. Ooh. Ooh. Single. Double. Single. Switch grip and do the same thing. So yeah, just trying to really cycle through all possible ways of movement, and then yeah, focus on moving the serratus and that whole chain of muscles in every angle possible. That's essentially what mobility is. Finding out all the ways your body can move or should be able to move, and if it's not able to move it through it, then slowly try to move it through those ranges of motion. So yeah, like you'll notice, like maybe if you're good at a movement with overhand, you might not necessarily be as good underhand or neutral. So you playing around with all these things will unlock little bits and things that you can do that will then translate to other movements, and then you'll find gains over there that will translate to other movements. So everywhere there's, just because an exercise doesn't exist or it's not expressly mentioned to do something, try it out anyway. The gains that you get from that will probably most likely translate to something else, and also helps build a good physique in my opinion. But yeah, I'm gonna do a bunch of sets of pullovers. I'm gonna do some abs, but I'm probably not gonna record it, and then I'm gonna sit in the sauna after. But yeah, that's it for the workout today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like the video if you like the video, and subscribe. I'll see you all in the next one.